work, hard work, hard work, work. There you go. Hard work, work. Everybody doing it right. Hard work, work, work. That's what I say. Hard work.
Welcome to KBOB 89.9 FM. Your boy Ramona Hometown Heat here. Welcome everybody, all my soldiers out there, all of my veterans. Hello to you. All of those that support veterans, hello to you as well. And thank you for your service to all of us veterans in the community. Man, I'm so grateful. Today I have two men that I look up to because they actually are doing the work, the hard work in the community. And those are the people that we'll only have on this show is people that are actually putting in the work, the time, and the effort to really serve veterans and those that have been veterans themselves, man. So it's just such a great honor to have great men here with us today. Oh, yeah, that. Yeah. I'm sorry. Again, it's your boy Ramona Hometown Heat, and of course KBOB 89.9, Black on Black Community Radio, and home for all things Greenwood, Centennial, and Black Wall Street. We'll keep you informed daily about the upcoming events. Make sure you mark your calendars for May the 24th all the way to June the 5th. There's a lot going on, so keep it right here. For all of your details in KBOB 89.9, we got your back. We always are looking out for you, all right? So as you know, man, something that I always want to do for you is elevate your mindset. It's all about mindset. A lot of the things that I think that separates a lot of veterans and people that have served in the military versus just people in the community is mindset. You know, we have to have a team effort type of mindset, man. So one thing is that if I can bring civilians into our world and it's kind of like a fraternity. We're just all brothers and sisters out there, helping and serving and making sure that we protect one another, doing our best to do that. So right here, I have Steve Harvey, man. And of course, it's all about the next 50 years of your life. So let's talk about this and listen to Steve Harvey. I think he can do it best.
My suggestion to all young people, if you could just hear me clearly, don't do what I did. Most people I know mess off all of their 20s. From 20 to 29, they just jack it off. They just jack off their 20s. They mess them up. Because 20 is that age, man, where you just really just trying to have too much fun. You're free, you're out of college, you don't live at your mama's house no more, you're out on your own. So what do? Mostly all of us, 98% of the people I know, we spend our 20s trying to exert ourselves in the fun category. We got to get off work so we can go to happy hour. We got to get off work so we can go get high. We got to get off work so we can go drink a cold. We got to get off work, go smoke one. We got to go hang out with the fella. We got to play video games. The average person blows all of their 20s. Then when you find out that life ain't waiting on you, now you're 30. Now guess what happens to mostly all of us, including myself? I spent all of my 30s trying to do the things that I should have been doing in my 20s. So now my life is behind. Now you look up and you're 40s. You in your 40s. And now you're trying to do the things and have the things that you could have had in your 30s, man, had you just done what you should have did in your 20s. And then the tragedy starts to occur. You look up and you're 50. Now, that don't mean it's too late for you, because it wasn't too late for me. But you look up and you're 50, and now all of a sudden, all through your 50s, you trying to create and have a life that you could have created and had in your 30s. My suggestion to all young people, if you could just hear me clearly, don't do what I did. So you look at my life now and you think, oh, Steve, you got it going on. Man, you don't know how hard I made it on myself, taking the route that I took. If I could start over again and change one thing, I would buckle down in my 20s while you're young and energetic. Alleviate some of that BS that you're so dedicated to. The 20s, man, you dedicated to the girls, the dudes, the video games, the clubs, the happy hours, that smoke, that drink, that freedom. But in dedicating yourself to that freedom and that fun, man, you lock yourself out of the American dream. And it happens to 98% of the people. And the reason I know it is because it happened to me. And if I could tell anybody, man, if I could do it again, I would have changed the way I lived my 20s. And if I was in my 30s, you really in your 30s, it's time out for clubs and drinking and happy hours and parties. In your 30s, you should just be about the business of your life. Because say what you want to say about me. Every time I hear Steve, man, he trying to preach to somebody. I'm really just trying to share some valuable information because I lived all the messed up sides of it. Flunking out of school, man, losing everything I ever had, divorces. I'm telling you, man, I did so many things wrong. I made so many mistakes. Homeless, living in a car. I made incredible mistakes. I could have avoided a lot of those. Now, it created who I am. Now, once you've made the mistakes, just get up, man. Don't wallow in them because you can recover from all mistakes. But you got to want to recover. You got to ask for forgiveness. You got to go to all the people that you crossed and you wrong and you let down. You got to say, look, I'm sorry. I made a mistake. Forgive me and move on. Now, everybody ain't going to forgive. That's life. God is in the forgiving business. And see, people trip out when I throw God at them. I'm just telling you, man, the reason I throw God out there is because God is available for everybody. I always wanted to be rich. But if you want to be the downright hardcore successful, have a little extra money, you got to get busy. Whatever you're doing right now, as hard as you think you're working, you got to quadruple that. And then when you look up and that ain't working, like here's my father always told me, he said, son, when you think you've done all you can do and you can't do no more, do some more.
Right there, Steve Harvey with, a word that really impacted my life. And so I definitely wanted to share that with you, to know and to share with you, man, like time is moving on. Time is not waiting for you by any means. Time is not waiting for you by any means. So you want to make sure that you actually take advantage of the now, and that's one of the things, man. Because I can remember the day that I was at in kindergarten. You know what I'm saying? I can remember those days, but those times have passed on, and now we're getting older. We're continuing to grow. So that's one of the things that I'm always just trying to share with you guys is mindset, mentality on how you can improve in what you do on a continual basis, man. So I wanted to share that with you right there, right? So I do have two great guests with me here today. Two gentlemen that I admire. I actually, had got to meet them before we just sat down and had this conversation. But to also look at their work, and that's one thing that I appreciate about my dad is that he worked, and so I saw the work ethic, and I got to really see what a real good work ethic was. And so once you see it, you can see the traits in other men and other women that are out here, and that's the military mindset. That's the veteran mindset in a way to where we can't just sit down. Now that you served in the military, you can't sit down. So let me introduce my guest right here. All right, before I go on a tangent. But we have Mr. Alvin Muhammad here with us today. How are you, sir?
Fine. Yourself, sir?
Good. As well, we also have Mr. Victor here with us today.
Howdy.
You doing all right today?
Doing outstanding. Thank you.
Good, man. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us here today. And can you pronounce? The one thing that I should have did was pronounce your last name.
Lazama.
Yes.
Sir.
Victor Lazama is here with us as well. So, gentlemen, can you share? And we'll start with Alvin. Can you share your experience in the military, like how you served and everything like that?
Yes, sir. Well, I joined right out of high school, 1985.
Yes.
Air Force. Joined as an aircraft mechanic, and that's basically, working on fighter aircraft, refuelers, aircraft. Then they actually took me off the flight line and put me into a classroom to be an instructor. I was what they call a fast burner in the military, made rank pretty fast within my 4 years. So they took me off the flight line and put me in the classroom and became an instructor to teach people how to properly maintain an aircraft.
Wow.
So I did that for 8 years, going up to Desert Storm. But we had got pretty, what they call top heavy, a lot of rank in the military. A lot of people didn't want to get out. So at that time, I decided to go to school and get my airframe and power plant license. And so I went to school, got my license, and decided to, after 8 years, try my luck in the civilian sector. And for a while, I worked at Austin Jet, Biz Jet, and then Boeing up until 9/11.
Wow.
And after going through several layoffs with Boeing, decided at the last layoff that I was going to start my own business. And I've been doing my own business ever since right after 9/11.
Wow. And what is that business?
Landscaping and lawn care.
All right, man. And this dude, like, man, he looked like he's still in the military. like he could go suit up any day and just go on any mission, man. So I love that. So Victor, tell us a little bit about who you are.
All right. Well, same thing. I went in right after high school. I was, I'm about to show my age. It was in 1991. Went into the United States Marine Corps. I was a avionics technician. Loved doing what I was doing, working on F-18s, Harriers. I was working on the radars. We were eye level, so we worked in the air conditioning vans. So we had the flight line guys who did all the sweating. They bring us the boxes, and then we did the nice little jobs.
Nice.
So love the Marine Corps. The Marine Corps sent me here to Oklahoma, to University of Oklahoma, to get my commission as an officer. Went to OCS in 1996. Didn't quite finish college. It wasn't for everybody, but even though I stumbled in my career, I kept pushing through.
Yes,
Just because you have failures in your life doesn't mean you just stop there, right?
Right.
So I kept pushing forward.
That's right.
And then I was on a Westpac on USS Tarawa when the first USS Cole got hit. So we did a deployment there. During that deployment, I submitted my package to do an inter-service transfer into the Army to become a pilot. There was a program that was out. Not many people knew about it.
Right.
But if you were in the Air Force, Navy, or Marine Corps, and you had 4 years left on your contract, you can actually inter-service transfer into the Army to become a pilot.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a crazy program. Like I said, not many people knew about it. So one day I'm in the Marine Corps, next day I'm in the Army. I got accepted, and this is pre 9/11.
Wow.
And I really thought my last 10 years were going to be, just my flight suit, like a rock star, flying around. I was like, man, that'd be awesome. Because I was already at my 10-year mark. I knew I was going to retire.
Yeah.
So my 3 months before graduating flight school, 9/11 happened.
Wow.
And I went from having orders to Savannah, Georgia, to having orders at Fort Drum, New York.
Wow.
Upstate, where there's 9 months of snow. And yeah, it was not pretty.
Wow.
So 9/11 happened. I got to my unit, brand new pilot, and from there it was went to Iraq, Mosul, my first deployment, 15 months. Second month deployment was in Baghdad. That was another 15 months. And then after that, it was Jalalabad, Afghanistan was my last deployment. And then I had enough. I did 20 years and 3 months and had to get out. Came back to Oklahoma, flew for Tulsa. Actually, I worked for Nordam Aerospace out of here for about a year, and then flew for Tulsa Light Flight out of Keefton for about another year. Trying to find my place, like most veterans are doing when they get out. You're trying to really find your place.
Right.
And then after flying for about a year, didn't realize my PTSD was still spinning up. Like many veterans, we kind of just try to look the other way. I'm a tough Marine, tough soldier, war fighter. I don't need help. So it took me a while to kind of accept that into my life. So I grounded myself and opened up my own business down in Muskogee called the PC Landing Zone. We repair computers and cell phones, and opened up my second store in Tahlequah. And then because of the success of our business, I wanted to give back to our veterans in a certain way. I knew that we were kind of hurting for resources, veteran suicide. So I took this old nursing home and we turned it into a community center for veterans, which we're going to have 2 gyms, a chapel, a library, a computer lab, a barber shop, clothing closet, just recreation stuff, pretty much just a place for veterans to come and hang out. And we've been trying to open. COVID hit us last year, took us down, because we're social gathering, not social distance. We're the opposite. So we couldn't open for the safety of our veterans, because most of our clientele is going to be the older generation. We want to make sure they stay safe. So we're looking to open here around June. If as long as COVID stays kind of simmered down, we should be okay.
We when the Juice radio show, actually we came to his spot and we gave out like school supplies.
I give you a tour, right?
You gave me a tour, everything, man, and it was beautiful. I mean, it was amazing. It was brilliant because you put it in phases of war times in a way, and you honored he honored all veterans. You know what I mean? So
Army hallway, all the hallways are painted to that specific service.
Yeah. So it's dope. You got to make it down there to see it, man. I mean, it's for veterans, for us, like it really is like a good place to just chill, and you feel like he put detail into it. Wow. So it's nice, man. It's nice.
Definitely.
Yeah, for sure. So all together, man, like with just craziness is just erupting within all of our lives, but for some, even veterans, we struggle with the PTSD because they're triggers of things that are going on, words that are said, you know what I mean? And the thing for me is we all got to live on this planet Earth, you know what I'm saying, at the end of the day. So, like, we have to work as military men and women together on some form to where we can build and develop. And the thing that for this veteran show here is that mentality of teamwork, through it all. There are things that happen throughout our terms of serving in the military. And my thing is the solutions. Like I love solutions and how we can work things out. I understand the problems like all day long. But like, then that's why I brought y'all here, because y'all are men of solutions, like y'all work through the problems. And so what do you think that it would take for just like, even just as men to work together and women just within our community and just be like transparent? I want y'all to be transparent and open and be who you are and how you feel and what you think. So definitely just share what y'all think.
So for me, and what we're doing to the barracks is we're taking more of a direct approach. Mm-hmm. You have to start owning your issues. You can't be sitting here crying and whining and, thinking that, society owes you anything just because you serve your country. Some serve 4, some serve 30, but at the end of the day, we all sign on the dotted line that you still have to own up to your issues. And that's the problem that we see a lot of here is that our communities, our societies, they feel really sorry for us. Yeah. And I hate that. Yeah. Oh, you went to war. Oh, you have PTSD. And they start giving us that, oh, I'm sorry. I can't stand that. I really can't, because we need to be better than that. We were brave enough to sign on the dotted line. We need to be brave enough to actually get help that we need. And I'm guilty. I'm guilty as can be. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. I was very guilty. I was too tough to get help. When I first got out, my nightmares were horrible. They put me on Prozac. Yeah. I did not like who I was, a zombie. I didn't have the motivation to do stuff. So I learned that the more I dug myself into work and doing more for my community and my fellow veterans, the more my mind got off stuff. Yeah. So that's when I started doing all the stuff. And I stay busy. I have at least 20 projects a day.
Me too. Yeah.
And my therapist said, I see a therapist, and she says that, that's my addiction. Yeah. Is to stay busy to make sure that those nightmares and those bad thoughts stay away. Yeah. And it does help. Yeah. But eventually when I get older and all this stuff starts slowing down, it's going to come back and kick me in the butt. Yeah. But what I've seen from all these years of trying to help our veterans out is there's a huge generation gap between the Vietnam era veterans in Iraq and even Desert Storm. Yep. Huge generation gap. So the VFW, American Legion, amazing organizations. But when you go there, you really don't feel like that's really yours, because we're a different generation. Right? We love gaming. We love flat screen TV. We love iPads.
Bingo is not ours.
Exactly. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's their generation.
Exactly.
So, that's why I created the barracks. You saw we have flat screen TVs everywhere. We have gaming systems. When we were down in Iraq and Afghanistan, that's all we're doing is playing games. So it's kind of like reliving where we were. But what I wanted to create was a space where we can all come and hang out and just chill and just talk about our experiences. When you're sitting here talking to a veteran who either was in peacetime or was in wartime, they understand you no matter what. They understand the training that you went through, the sacrifices that not only you made, but that your family, your loved ones, everyone else made.
Yeah, true.
And the question is, what is the solution? And I wish I knew the solution, because last year alone, I lost one friend every 3 months. That's not even an exaggeration. One of those was my cousin. My cousin took his own life right in front of his family. It hit me bad because he knew what I was doing. He was a big supporter of the barracks, and he didn't reach out. And I lost a friend back in November, a close friend that we went to OU together. We went to OCS together. He knew exactly what I was doing. He's supposed to come up here and help me out. He didn't reach out as well. So what is the fix? I mean, the fix, there really can't be a fix until we identify what the actual problem is. I mean, suicide is not the problem. The problem is how do we interject ourselves into these men and women's lives before they get down that dark path? because once they get down that dark hole, there's just no coming back. And a friend of mine told me, and I've talked to, when I checked myself into the VA. When my cousin took his own life, I took it hard. I locked myself in my office. I was in my dark cave again. I was going down that hole that everyone else went.
Right.
And I kept passing out. I mean, I didn't know what was going on with me. But he was like my brother. He was there when my daughter died. He was there, when my kids were born. I mean, he was my brother, So when he killed himself, I didn't have an answer. I'm like, why? I looked at my text messages wondering what was going on. He was still active duty. He had orders for Redstone. He had a family, kids, and I just couldn't understand it. So I had to check myself into the VA there in Muskogee for 4 days, and it was just, depression, and wondering why, because I felt guilty enough to where I was telling myself that if I can't even help my fellow brother or my fellow cousin, how am I going to help anybody else?
Yeah,
wow. So I had a lot of guilt on my shoulders, and believe it or not, man, the VA was cool. I called it my little getaway.
Yeah,
some people call it the funny farm, but it was a getaway. I was eating my snack pack, I had my slippers on.
Right.
But what I found out and discovered up there was that there's a lot of veterans who have it really, really horrible. You come to appreciate what, that your problems aren't as bad compared to some of those people that were there. And of course, me being the helper guy that I am, I'm digging in their stories, wondering why. And, a lot of them just never wanted to get help. And when they reached out for help, it was almost too late for them. It's heartbreaking. It's hard because you want to help these individuals out, but then you have a big percentage who just don't want to reach out. And, like I said, I've lost a friend every 3 months last year. And I didn't want to go to the funerals. And for me, it was killing me. And myself and my girlfriend, she's in the National Guard. Her name is Kaylin. After my second friend took his own life, we just decided, it's like, we got to do something. So we packed up our bags and started hiking around Oklahoma. We did a 227-mile hike.
Wow.
Started in Muskogee, Okmulgee, went up to Glenpool, Tulsa, Tahlequah. I mean, we did a whole circle. It took us 8 days. But every time I stopped every day, I was telling a story about my veterans, on the people who I was hiking for. And I was hoping that these men and women would see, that here I am, 40-year-old man, I'm killing myself. My feet are like, hamburger. We're killing ourselves hiking 200 miles for them. And they need to make the effort to come out. If I'm here beating myself up, they need to have the effort to at least come out and help out. It was a great hike. It really was. Wow. We helped about 2 people when we were on the hike that reached out.
So what you're basically saying is that you're working on the solution. Like you're actually trying to live the solution. So Alvin, how do you feel? Like, what do you think the solution comes in at? Like, to where it's, as veterans, to where we can help to continue to build. And what do you think? How do we formulate that? What's your thoughts?
Well, for me, I have to learn more of the issue when you're dealing with those type of things, the suicide, PSD, and things of that nature. We kind of had a joke in the military, the Air Force. In the Air Force, we send our officers to war.
That's good. I never thought about that.
we don't have to. So we hear the stories of PSD and things of that nature. Not that Air Force was not present, but we were never necessary on the battlefield. To encounter a lot of that stuff.
True.
But in the military, you hear about a lot of those things. So I'm learning from testimony, how I can serve my fellow veterans. And that's one thing that I can do with my business. The military helped me with a lot or discipline. Whether you're dealing with PTSD.
No, it's fine. It's okay.
Or any other issue. Staying active.
Is
something that we
mental.
We have to stay active, and that's something that it's like I'm almost addicted to staying active, staying focused, staying disciplined. So
for my business, stay focused.
Yes, sir. Stay focused. I can offer maybe some of my brothers who are suffering, as far as veterans, an opportunity as far as work to grow.
So let me ask you this. I mean, in an area, because this is what I want to kind of just build a pathway for you. So this is what I appreciate you as far like as a veteran and a community advocate. So you fought for, and help me with her name, I believe it's April. April Harding. So over at the June store, June. This is all alleged. I don't know. Allegedly, all of this stuff. It's nothing that I'm just saying that it all happened. But I'm just gonna tell the story anyways. Okay, so June came outside. He beat the girl up. And she went to the hospital and was beat up pretty bad. Can you basically tell the story? I think you can tell it better than I can.
Yeah, she was in the store with her children, and
yes.
He had accused her children of stealing, but there was no stealing that occurred. So they had a little confrontation inside the store. So she decided to leave the store, where he decided to follow her out the store and confront her and curse her out. Talk disrespectfully to her.
Yes.
So as she was turning away from him, he actually punched her in the mouth in front of the children.
Yeah.
So of course, that I was actually out south with my wife. We were getting something to eat, and I seen the video somebody posted on Facebook on that particular day, and immediately just felt enraged. So the next day, of course, me and several other individuals gathered in front of June's QDL beauty supply store and began practically a year and a half, almost 2 year protest attempting to shut that store down for such abuse. But as hard as we try, it takes the full heart of the community in order to accomplish something. So even though he's still open, we did feel that we made an impact, and we made a statement that you cannot treat your customers, you cannot treat particularly our women in such a disrespectful manner. So that's why we protested and remained there for almost 2 years.
And see, that's what I love about the actions and the fight that you did. So I took that as you understanding that you were a veteran. I just come to find out that you were a veteran probably not even a month ago. And then, but I was like, oh, I understand why he did what he did. You know what I mean? So it's just like, oh, I get it now, because it's just like you stand up for what you believe in your community, and you were protecting her. You were protecting your community in a way. And the thing for me was that most men don't approach those situations like that in our community.
That's right.
And that's a problem, because that's why it's continuing to go on with these families and these women and these men.
That's right.
It's because nobody is standing up. But I know as us as veterans, like we go to the fight. Like that's just who we are, and our mentality. Even if you didn't go to war, you still go to war in working on helicopters, and doing the work that you did in the Air Force. You have to attack it. Right. And is a mentality of continuing to press on. And so that's where I'm trying to tie things in, as far as finding solution where real men are in our community today, standing up for our babies that are getting molested, that are getting, all these other things. But I think that I see purpose for a lot of veterans. Like it's like you are sitting at home and I forget what the scripture says, but it says, or somebody said that idle mind is the devil's playground.
That's in the scripture.
Yeah. So okay. Yeah. And so, I try to say, man, like if you're there, you have this instinct in you to step forward, because nobody, I think, well, in our, y'all's generation, our generation, I don't believe anybody was forced to go into, and serve in the military. We chose to. Exactly. And I think it's the choice and mentality of those people and those men and women that have served in the military to say, hey, let me partner with some organizations and really help this community, So that's my biggest thing for us in total as veterans on it, moving in your area where you are. You have your own lane, you have your own lane. And both of you guys are happy. And that's the thing that I think that a lot of these veterans today, because I look at those World War veterans, like they still strong. They got a strong mind. Like they are some, and they've been probably seen a lot worse than I have.
That's right.
So it's like, what is the difference between veterans of the Vietnam War and the Iraqi War? Like, what's the difference here? So that's what I'm trying to find. That's the answer that I'm looking for. And you guys exude that to where you found your joy, Mm-hmm. So what would you say to, people out there, and it may be a different lane. Your lane may not be his lane, but what would you say to people out there that are veterans how to get that mentality and just to get that vitality up. Like, what advice would you give to them? And whoever can go first.
Any veteran, that's one thing that we all went through is some form of basic training. And that's something that each one of us can take back to our community and help in, whether it be dealing with the youth, securing our community. That discipline, that training that we went through is something that we can now turn over and apply in our community. Yeah, it wasn't just for us, right? It was for us to learn, certain concepts of discipline, and that's something that we can all take back to our community and to address certain issues that are going on, whether it be the child abuse. We have to utilize that training, right? I could not, when I decided to start my business, I could not offer aircraft maintenance to people in my community because nobody got got planes. So I couldn't say I'm A&P licensed. So you got a plane I can work on. So I had to, think on what was needed and then grow it from that point. But in the same sense, we have to, as soldiers, we have to go into our communities, see a need, and then address it. Yes, and that's what we have to do with our training.
That's good. That's good.
Well, the problem is that these men and women are coming home and, they're coming back from combat. They're getting their disability pay. They're living, just a regular life without having a job. They're getting stuck in what we call the cave. They're in their apartments, in their houses, no purpose whatsoever. Wow. They need to repurpose themselves. We all had different MOSs and stuff. When we come back to our hometowns, I'm no longer a pilot. I can no longer work on F-18 Harriers. I can do something else. We've got to be able to repurpose these individuals that are coming, that are coming back home, that are having a hard time finding a job, that can't be in a big group because they can't work around. Many services exist out there. I can tell you that when we open up the barracks and we have our barber shop, I have 3 barbers in the Vietnam era who are excited because they're doing nothing at home right now. And, they're like, oh, when are you going to open? I'm ready to get free haircuts. Yeah. And in return, they get to hang out with a bunch of veterans in a cool little place. It's like a playground for adults. Yeah. And they get to do what they loved doing a long time ago. And that's what everybody needs to do, because the veterans that we're losing here aren't the ones who are homeless or drug addicts. These are men and women who have families, who have jobs, who have careers, and are taking their own lives. So we have to find a way to repurpose these men and women, is what I say. We have to find a way how to get them excited about their community again. I've been very blessed that down here in Muskogee, we have an amazing community of veterans. As a matter of fact, we have a big Air Force community there. I have no idea why, but the majority of the veteran is our Air Force down there. And some stay, some are very, quiet about their services. The Vietnam came back. They were very, they came home to an ungrateful nation. I can understand that. A lot of them, they kind of stayed low key, but then, a lot of the Desert Storm, Iraq, OIF, always, they just don't know how to go about it. Right. We get so many volunteers who contact us. What can we do? I have my son-in-law that came back, my uncle, he just sits at home. We contact them. Hey, what are you doing? You want to come by and hang out? We have little parties here and there. And they love that. Yeah. You see the sparks in their eyes. There's been times where we have, some barbecues and stuff. And I'll have a veteran who was married for 25 years. And his wife will say, Vic, I never heard him tell that story before ever in my whole life, because they open up to fellow veterans. Yeah. And the more opportunities that we offer, like you had Charles on here from the Irreverent Warriors. We did the high class weekend, Nice. The more opportunities we can offer, gatherings, shows, just anything we can do to get these veterans to come out and just see that it's okay to be a veteran. It's okay what you did in the past. No one's here to judge you. You can live another life. You can start another life and be okay. And if they see that people like you and I, that we're living our lives after going through so much crap back, before, if they say, hey, he or she's okay, maybe I'm going to be okay. Yeah. And that's what we need to do. And that's how we have to do it.
And for me, like, the one thing that set me off was just like, okay, we got to find a solution. When that veteran shot that husband and wife, like, because they were cussing them out in the street, and he went in the house and got his rifle, that was a soldier who probably went to war somewhere. How many other dudes are out there just like that and just snap? So it's like, oh, this is, and they are tactical. They know what they're doing. They know. So it's like, okay, we got to work together. Because you never know when this bomb is going to go off here. This bomb. So it's just like, so us as veterans, we have to find a way to work together and get these guys out of that house and in a place to where it's like, oh no, we embrace. We can take you to the gun range if you want to shoot. Yeah, you're gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay. So my thing is that the mentality and then also, partnering and finding ways to where, we can collectively go find these veterans and support them and get them in places. Hey, you may just love to go play ping pong. That may be your thing for life. Okay, that's cool with me. You know what I'm saying? Like, as long as you happy, we good.
Exactly.
So I think that the thing is that us as veterans, we have to be able to have conversations, tough conversations, and find our medium to where we can just find the solution to, hey, help these dudes that's out there that will just snap.
And that's the key phrase is the tough conversation.
Yes.
Because we're not sensitive. And that's where everybody thinks we are. You know, you have to have those tough conversations with each other. We have to pull, cut the fat out and just get directly to the point of what is going on with you. Be straight and honest with me. I mean, there's been times where I just, middle of the night, I have to get up and go to a veteran's house, take him somewhere, pick someone up who's having a problem, pick someone up who's been living in a tent. It's things like that. But you have to have that tough conversation with veterans. Stop thinking that we're so sensitive. That that we're going to be crippled or something by you asking those. We're not. We can take it. Like you said, we all sign a dotted line. We can take it. I promise.
Yeah. And so, Mr. Alvin, so even with you, serving in the military, like, and being in that place, like, what were some things that impacted you and changed your mindset and mentality, to be just a little bit stronger in what you do?
But it boils down to the brotherhood. You build family. When you're going through, whether it be basic training or even through tech school, all of you are suffering. You're away from your families. You're learning how to be men, and all that. Process. In that process, you're building a bond. So that bond that you build. Like everybody else, you stay in contact with your fellow
battle buddies.
It don't matter. You don't have to be with them for 5 years. But when you come together, it's like you was just with them the other day.
Exactly.
So just that's one of the things that impacted me: the brotherhood and sisterhood that you develop from your fellow brothers and sisters in arms. So
because it's different when you got to lift a log like together. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a different type of bond than just like us just working on a game or something. So it's. And I think that's the greatest thing about all of us as veterans. We understand that we anticipate like tough work. You know what I mean? We anticipate that, but willing to get the breakthrough to where we're able to really, see the manifestation of what we want. You know what I mean? So, so one thing that I do want to know is, like, just with the facility that you have, is there any success stories from someone that was, that had challenges and that turned his life around?
All the time. And what's crazy is, people think that, everything's on Facebook, people don't understand the stories and the sacrifices that we make behind the curtains, the stories that we don't mention because of privacy issues. But we've had veterans who've had problems with alcoholism that I have personally taken them by the hand, taken them to the center, sit there with them the whole time, sit them with during their meetings with their counselors, because somebody's got to do it. Getting jobs, getting them back on their feet, finding a place to live. I've got 2 guys who still work at Lowe's who came to Muskogee, didn't have anything, went through tough divorces.
Wow.
We got hotel rooms for them. We have another organization called KBOB. They're amazing down there. They help veterans find long-term housing based on their income and stuff like that. So we have all these resources that are available, but we just have to find them and consolidate them all. And that's what we want to do. We want to consolidate all these services into one. But success stories all the time, every single time.
Good.
We turn our back on a lot of veterans who aren't up front with us, like we were talking about. You have to own up to your. If you want someone to sit there and help you, you have to be wanting to help yourself. Because a lot of these, we have a very small percentage, unfortunately, of veterans who know how to abuse the system, who notice how to say the right words. But that doesn't work when you talk to a fellow veteran of 20 years. That might work with civilian when you're talking to civilians. When you're talking to one of us, we're gonna know if his story, her story is gonna be it's full of it. That's what I think sets us apart from everyone else, because we hold them to that. We really do.
And that's excellent. That's excellent. And so, Mr. Alvin, so with how we're growing and with the veteran, like you said, the brotherhood, sisterhood that we had with it all together. But what would you say to, young men and women about that brotherhood and forming that brotherhood in a way? Like, why is that important to formulate that type of brother and sisterhood to you?
Well, for one, when you're dealing with the violence in our community and the death rate, it's absolutely necessary that we have work to develop such brotherhood and discipline, especially among young Black men in our community. In fact, I was just talking to an individual last week, and I was thinking that, we need a program in our community. They used to have a youth work program, but you also need a program that incorporates physical training, discipline training, personal finances, and things of that nature. Those are the type of things that we need to start cultivating now with these young individuals in our community, so that we can help them mature to be great soldiers, not necessarily in the military, but in their home. Because it takes a soldier to run a house. And you have to be walking your post in a perfect manner, keeping always on alert, what's going on in your house. And that takes a leader. It takes a general. So we have to start developing these young men right now. They need that type of training. A lot of young brothers, they sit home and they just sit
on the game
and game. So you need that type of training, and that's something that we need to consider. I know they have things like what is it? They have like a military training. The training. I know what you're talking about. For young men in trouble.
Yes, Thunderbird.
Yeah, and we need more that type of training. Not necessarily in your face and things, but you need that discipline. And that's something that's lacking in our community. We are lacking with the broken homes. Discipline is lacking in our community.
And one challenge that I had, Mr. Muhammad, was the fact that I worked in a club. I was a DJ. I was an MC, and I worked in the club. And after the club, like, my homeboys was shooting one another, and I'm like, we was all in the club. Why are we shooting each other now, man? Like, what is this? And this was the time that I got out the military, and so I had a different perspective as having that military mind to understand in a different way. But I know that, of course, systematically things were pushed to make us fight one another. But today, I'm like, y'all are still shooting one another. Like, wait. So that's why, I wanted to develop this show as more mindset, to where we all generally can continue to change our mind and get our mindset together. Because, again, like, they are not giving tickets to the moon quite yet. So like, we still we are stuck here. I gotta live, even though you don't like me. I still gotta live here with you, and I'm gonna be here. I can't go to the moon quite yet. So just wait. You know what I mean? So it's just like, it has to be some form of teamwork in some form, to where, and I know that as veterans and people of military, we understand that what it looks like, instead of just words. You know what I mean? And to come from different places and to be able to work as one team to get a mission accomplished. So that's the biggest thing for me, to where we can continue to do that. But, like, where do you think, even with our youth in our community and where you are in Muskogee, because Muskogee, it does have the hospital there, but I don't necessarily, and because I may just need to be educated, but I don't know necessarily about the military. It's not a military town per se, So, like, tell me a little bit about Muskogee and how the challenges are.
Well, we have the big hospital there, obviously, and then we have like 3 call centers, and then we have the veteran center as well there. So we have a large retired or people who've gotten out community. Great community, very veteran oriented. The mayor, everyone there in Muskogee loves their veterans. They support the veterans all the way through. Anytime there's a veteran that you see in the streets or something, we're the first ones to get the phone call. Hey, I saw this veteran. People care about their veterans there. One thing that I think we forget as veterans is that, whether we like it or not, we're mentors. For, like we were just talking about, for the younger generation. Whether we like that responsibility or not, we are the mentors. Those parents are going to come to us. I'll just give you a prime example. We just had a young man leave Sunday for the Marine Corps boot camp. His mom came and asked me if we could have lunch with him months ago, because he wanted to be infantry. I want to go kill people. We sat him down. And that's where I was too. And so we sat him down, and I told him everything about the Marine Corps, about and he was he scored really high on his ASVAB. Wow. And I was like, you can't go infantry. You can always go back in your career and do whatever you want, but you need to start to the top, and then
That's right.
you know, if you want to work your way down, that's fine.
Yeah.
He ended up going in. He's going in Intel now.
Mhm.
And because he scored that high, and we changed his mind. He thanked me for that before he left. He's like, "Hey, thanks for changing my mind because I was ready to go infantry." And even though it is cool, you know, you see it on TV, it is cool. You can always go back and do that no matter what. But you need to use the military for everything they have because they're going to use you at the end of the day.
That's right.
You know, but we are the mentors for our youth. You know, we're the ones that. You know, they're going to be looking up to us no matter what.
Yep. I
had 2 buddies that came in from out of town this past to do the hike. One was from Texas, one was from Utah. We served in Iraq. One I haven't seen over 10 years.
Wow.
My woman and I, we own a house together, and she's in the National Guard 4 years. So I can only imagine what's going through her head as we're all sitting there sharing stories of war.
Yeah.
She's probably looking at us like, man, these guys are crazy. You know?
Yeah.
She's like, what
have I got into? I'm out of here.
So let me ask this, Alvin. So I mean, together, like, how do you feel about you joining the military? Like, what's your perspective on kids today joining the military? Is it a good thing or a bad thing? Your perspective?
Well, anything that can benefit you when you have no goals. Military will help you develop goals. One thing I do appreciate is that it taught me a skill because I was at a point I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I went down and talked to a recruiter, and he was giving me options. And you know, aircraft mechanics sound pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I like airplanes.
Cool.
So, but I think even with our education should be focused on developing a skill, and that's one thing the military helped you to do is develop a skill.
Yep.
Absolutely.
It gave you a skill.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Something that you can take out of the military. It don't matter if you was a cook. You know, if you learn how to cook, you can become a chef. And get paid well. It teaches you a skill. So for the purpose of developing skill, I think it's a good thing.
Yeah.
That's what I tell every young man or woman who's going to just like get a job in the military, that when you get out, you can get a good job. Whether you do 4 years, where you stay, get a skill set that you can use when you get out.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And so what do you think the challenges of like maybe going to being in the military are, like for kids, you know, for kids that are out there maybe listening, like what's the reality of some things?
Talking to a couple of recruiters around here is physical fitness.
Yeah.
That, you know, gaming and our kids just don't get out like they used to anymore. You know, you don't see them playing ball, riding their bikes. I mean, that's the ugly truth.
Yeah.
So a lot of them are struggling when they first are getting into boot camp and stuff. And that is the 100% truth right there. You know, all these kids these days, you know, like you were talking about, you know, we didn't have direction. You know, me, I barely graduated high school. That's the truth. I mean, I hate exams. I'm a smart guy, but I hate exams.
Yeah.
And I remember one time we were flying to Georgia. You know, me and my buddy were flying a helicopter, and we looked at each other. I'm like, you know, I barely graduated high school. Can you believe they're letting me fly? I mean, we're flying this multi-million-dollar aircraft. You know, and we're like, man. But you know, the military taught me that skill set. You know, they know how to dumb it down. Because we all have to start somewhere. You know, so people, I think a lot of these kids these days get pretty intimidated on some of these high-tech jobs, saying, I can't do it. I can't do it. You know, my niece, she has the degree in physical therapy. Now she's doing IT stuff.
Dang.
She didn't know anything about computers. But the Air Force took her. They fine-tuned her, and they gave her the skill set, and they bring out the skills in you that you didn't realize you had. That's what the military is awesome about, whether it's the Air Force, Marine Corps, whatever the case is. You know, I was pretty good with my hands, but I didn't realize I could fix circuit cards down to the component level. And then the Marine Corps sent me to Navy schools, and man, I was like, man, this is awesome. And they gave me that skill set enough to where I can open up my own stores and implement those skills that I learned in the military. You know, so it's an amazing opportunity.
They definitely are transferable. I mean, from military to civilian life, they're definitely transferable, man. Especially mentality. It's just like we just press past a lot of people, and that's how veterans just keep winning. You know,
moving forward.
What would you say are the realities of it? Good, bad? Like, what would you say to people out there?
Well, I would just, if you're going into the military, I would encourage you to really question what you're signing up for, as far as when you talk about skill sets, because some people are just, you know, just joining and don't really know what they're joining to do, and end up in a career field that they're not really satisfied in. So I think as you sit down with somebody, hopefully you have a parent there that can actually guide you and ask questions about what it is that you are signing up for. So that's something that I would encourage you to do, to really investigate, because there's a lot of jobs out there. but not every job.
Yeah. And you also have a son that's in the.
I have two. One Navy aircraft mechanic also,
awesome.
And then my son's in the Army Reserves, drill sergeant and Tulsa fireman.
Nice, man. I mean, and those same skills that you transferred to and put a good light on the military for your children as well. So, like, talk a little bit about you passing that down to your children and, you know, kind of nudging them along.
Well, just like I said, a discipline. Military help you with your discipline, and when your children grow up and they're respected by individuals in the community for their discipline, you know, no sir, yes ma'am, things of that nature, that impacts them. So when they make those decisions, that may help them to or not to make that choice. But I think that military background, getting up, staying active, not sitting around, kind of encourage them to do the same.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, all your children are like doing phenomenal in life, man. I'm like, dang, he's batting 1,000, man. I was just like, Alvin is just like a great father, great guy, man. So I appreciate that about him, and had just been watching him over the years, just as a great father, great husband, and always just stood up in our community, you know. But now, like, I understand it was the disciplines that you had in the past that now you still keep today. And dude, like, and if you could talk a little bit about your business as well, like what you do. And
like I said, we landscape and lawn care, and we pretty much do it. You know, we clean up, haul off, putting in grass, beautification. So we just pretty much tree trimming, pretty much stay around spraying and pesticide application. So, you know, we just kind of one-stop shop pretty much.
Love it. How can people get in touch with you?
You can call me at Superior Outdoor Services, 918-406-1916.
Cool, man.
1916.
He's always on the move. Him and his team is serious, man. So I love it. And if you could tell a little bit, just more to the general public or veterans that are out there about your organization.
So the barracks, we're hoping to open here in June. Like I said, we're a community center, just a place for veterans to come and hang out. We're also going to have a transitional living facility there as well, but that probably won't be over for another year or so. We're going to offer temporary rooms for those veterans who are transitioning to long-term housing. We're not a shelter, because I hate to use that word. It won't be for overnight stuff. It's just going to be for people who, you know, maybe got divorced, got laid off, who just need like a week or two of lodging. But that part won't be open for about another year. But the community center, you know, we're going to be open here hopefully in June. We're going to have offices available. The DAV is going to be inside there, American Legion, VFW, and KBOB. They're going to have representatives there, because the goal for us is to be everything in a consolidated place, everything in one-stop shop that you're talking about. And just a place to come and hang out. You know, we got a kitchen in there. If you want to come in there and get something to eat, play some Xbox, go read a book in the library or something, or go work out in the gym, that's the place for you. But follow our page. We're on facebook.com/OKBarracks.
Yeah, man. And I've seen it with my own eyes. He's solid. Like, man, he really cares. He has a great heart.
It's a big place.
Yeah, man. and it's legit. So y'all definitely got to make it down there for sure. It's legit. Yeah, man. So one thing, we're gonna end off with this right here. So of course, mindset, mentality is all this. That's the theme of the show. So if you guys could tell some people out there about mindset, mentality, to kind of just lighten their minds and get them a little bit tougher out here, what would you say to them in the community?
And just get focused. I think you have to make a decision to make a change. As long as you are not focused or not determined to make a change, then there would be no change. So I would just tell them to get your mind right, to make that decision to improve the condition. If you need improvement, just kind of get focused and commit yourself to it. Just commit yourself.
Love it.
For me, when you think you have it bad, trust me that someone else has it worse off than you do. You really do. And don't be, you have to break down that barrier on asking for help. That's right. Don't be too proud. Use your community, use your family. You have to have that power and the ability to reach out to get that help.
That's it, man. That's it, man. Wise words from you guys. Man, I'm so grateful for you guys for joining me here today, and we got to definitely do this again.
Absolutely. Anytime.
Cool.
I never shut up, so you can talk forever.
So good, man. So once again, to all my veterans, thank you for joining us here right on Left, Right, Left. Here on our veteran radio show, man, it's all about you guys to talk about what we need as a community and to help us to work as one, man, because we all have needs. We all have things that we want to get better in our mindset, mentality at home. You want to have a triple double, man. You want to be good at work, at home, and just in life in general, man. So you definitely want that. So this is a show for you right here to help you to get to that place. Even if you're not a veteran, we try to help you to get to that place. All right. So once again, I want to thank everybody for joining us right here on our radio show. Make sure you join us next Thursday from 4 to 5 p.m. Coming up next, we got the Juice Radio Show. MSNBC is actually going to be here today, and they're going to interview with them. So I'm so excited about that. All right, so keep it locked right here. This is KBOB 89.9 FM. Peace.
This is KBOB 89.9 FM, Tulsa, and